Well, hey there, Cindy here, and I am excited to welcome you back to another episode of Finding Freedom with Food. Let's talk about summer today. Summer can be a really challenging body image time of year. As the weather gets warmer, diet culture starts to get really loud, and we're bombarded with an onslaught of messaging about being summer body ready. Now, unlike in the cooler months, there's less opportunity to cover up in layers, and wearing shorts, tank tops, and bathing suits in the summer months, well, it can trigger anxiety and can cause those struggling with negative body image to avoid some summer activities and experiences that should be enjoyable for everyone. Honestly, the term summer body in and of itself is problematic, and it implies that bodies need to look a certain way in order to be able to enjoy summer. And that is total BS. Now, it's not surprising that research has shown that people feel the pressure to change their body as the weather warms up. Diet companies and influencers, they use this as an opportunity to make money off of our insecurities. Everywhere you turn, there's a new workout challenge, an ad for a diet supplement or pills, or maybe a prescription for weight loss medications, or posts in your social feeds for things like 10 easy ways to lose weight, how to say goodbye to cellulite, or some other diety goal that you're enticed to believe is the key to making you look great and feel great and be happy. And this is why so many people end up internalizing the belief that once I reach a certain weight, I'll be happy, I'll look good, I'll feel confident, and I'll enjoy summer. But what really happens when we buy into this falsehood? Well, instead of confidence and happiness, the result is typically, well, constantly comparing ourselves to others, feelings of being inadequate, yo yo dieting, avoiding social situations, or holding yourself back instead of making amazing memories and being totally distracted from the real joys of summer. Navigating the external pressure that you may be feeling to look a certain way when it comes to wearing summer clothes and feeling confident in your body, it actually is not about changing your body. It's about changing your approach to how you think about and relate to your body. So today I am delving into a topic that I believe is a foundational component of making positive changes in our health and also in our lives in general, and definitely with our relationship with food and our body. And that is acceptance. Accepting yourself as you are in this moment. And if your initial reaction is some form of, all right, Cindy, that's not possible. There's no way I can do that. I want you to stick with me. Hear me out. Stick with me throughout this episode. I'm going to share how it's possible for you and why it's important to focus on. Now, I totally understand that shifting away from that craving to be different and accepting yourself as you are in this moment can feel really challenging when you've spent years or decades comparing your body to others and believing that your body isn't good enough and believing that you'll be happier if your body looked different. And you might be thinking, if I accept myself as I am, I'll just let myself go, eat all the things, gain tons of weight, and be unhealthy. Here's what I want you to know. When you stop craving to be different and you accept yourself as you are in this moment, something paradoxical happens. Real transformation and change. That's where it begins with the radical acceptance of what is. Byron Katie, she says, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. When you stop fighting what is in this moment, all of a sudden, all of this space is freed up to focus on what you truly need to feel good and make positive changes that will enhance your health. You're going to have much more capacity to decide how it is that you want to spend your time, your mental energy, and your resources in a way that actually improves your health and well being, that adds to your life and enhances your life experiences in this world. So think about this. How much time do you spend engaging in negative self-talk about your body or comparing your body to others? Looking in the mirror and picking out your perceived flaws, right? Or scrolling on the internet for that latest diet that's going to help you lose the weight fast, keep it off forever, and going to make you blissfully happy. Now, I want you to really stop and consider how these behaviors may be negatively impacting your confidence and your sense of self respect and self worth, and how that impacts your behaviors and how you show up in the world. Now, I've seen this firsthand with my clients over and over again, how focusing on how their body should look or how they believe their body should look becomes a very heavy burden because society has taught them that skinnier is better. And this takes a huge toll on their self esteem, confidence, and it can actually manifest in the belief that they aren't good enough. And that leads to a whole heap of unhealthy and unproductive negative emotions and behaviors. So, what if it truly is possible that you can get to the place where you feel accepting and confident in your body, regardless of what it looks like right now? And want to know why it is possible? It's possible because how you feel has nothing to do with what your body looks like. How you feel comes directly from your thoughts about what your body looks like, and thoughts are optional. You weren't born thinking and believing that your body needs to look a certain way to be acceptable and worthy. You also weren't born believing that skinnier is better. And you weren't put on this earth to spend your precious time and energy trying to mold your body into a version that diet culture deems acceptable and worthy. Now, developing body acceptance does take intentional focus and effort. And you need to spend more energy on changing your mindset about your body versus the energy you've likely spent on trying to shrink it. Now, I want to make sure that I make this very clear. Nurturing body acceptance is not about letting yourself go and giving up on yourself. It's actually quite the opposite. It's the act of self care, and it can lead to a greater emphasis on health promoting behaviors. Now, on the contrary, staying stuck in the yo yo cycle of restrictive dieting is harmful to our physical health as well as our emotional well being. Restrictive diets, they're not sustainable and they don't work long term. Obsessing about your weight, following restrictive diets, these behaviors backfire the majority of the time. They lead to a messed up relationship with food, to binge eating episodes, and weight gain. And the research is very clear on this. Studies have shown 95% of people will regain the weight they lost from restrictive dieting, and two-thirds of those people will gain more weight than they lost. Now, I wish there were a magic pill that I could give you that would delete the negative thoughts that diet culture has taught you to believe about what bodies should look like and replace them with thoughts that are empowering, edifying, and motivating, and that drive behaviors and actions that support your physical and mental well being. But here's the good news. You have a human brain, and the human brain is amazing and it's a powerful tool. And you have the power within you to observe and question your thoughts and shift them toward a mindset that will support true health and well being. Now, I'm going to share 6 strategies that will help you begin to make these shifts in not only your behaviors, but your mindset so that you can start nurturing body acceptance. And we're going to show you how these are really essential to igniting positive change in your life. Now, the first one is to stop focusing on numbers. Number 2 is embracing body diversity and your genetic blueprint. Number 3 is expressing gratitude for your body. 4, we need to stop comparing our body to others. 5 is doing a social media detox. And number 6 is wearing comfortable clothes that actually fit your body. So let's talk about the numbers. The number on the scale, the size of your pants, the number of steps you've taken, or the number of calories you've eaten or burned. None of these define what a healthy and happy version of your body looks like. And obsessing about them will likely keep you stuck in the cycle of losing and regaining weight. Now, positive change starts to happen when you focus inward and listen to your body. It's going to tell you when and how much nourishment you need, what movement will energize you and feel good, and when you need to rest. Now, honoring these cues will help you not only feel your best, but help you normalize your eating patterns and help you stabilize and maintain your genetic set point weight. This is the weight that your body is biologically hardwired to fight to maintain. Now, if you're new to the concept of intuitive eating, I know that the idea of just listening to your body cues and honoring your hunger and your fullness, it's not simple. I get that. I have a free guide that can help you get started. Just visit intuitiveeatingguide.com and there you can download a copy of my 5-step guide that will give you some simple strategies to start improving your relationship with food and ending the chronic diet cycle. Now, number 2 is about embracing body diversity and your genetic blueprint. Now, I totally get that the idea of accepting your body as is can feel foreign and maybe even intimidating when you have spent years hating it and trying to change it. Now, I personally spent decades believing that I needed to be so hyper vigilant in controlling what my body looked like, believing that I would ultimately get to a place where I could be happy with it. And guess what? That never happened. In my mind, my body was never good enough, no matter what it looked like. Maybe you can relate. Now, humans were meant to come in all shapes and sizes. We need to stop being so critical, not only of our own bodies, but also start to be very mindful of the stereotyping and making snap judgments about different body types. Now, I'm going to speak more about this in a moment, but our genetics are a strong determinant of body size. Now, some people are born with a naturally leaner body type. However, they are in the minority. Now, if maintaining your weight requires you to consume an extremely low calorie count and exercise incessantly, that's a glaring red flag that your goal's not realistic. Now, true happiness is not contingent on having a particular body type, and the fight against your body is actually a roadblock to true happiness. Now, your body is a lot smarter than you may be giving it credit for. One of the keys to ending the suffering that we endure when we fight against our body is focusing on attunement and increasing your capacity to listen to your body's cues. Doing so will also allow your body to find the size and shape that it wants and was genetically meant to be. There's research that indicates that genes are more than 70% responsible for a person's weight and shape. And I'll put a link to a study on this in the show notes. But just like height, shoe size, and eye color, your body size and type are predetermined by DNA programming, or what is referred to as your genetic blueprint or your set point weight. Now, essentially, a set point weight is the weight range that our bodies want to be at to function optimally and feel our best. So it's the weight that our bodies can maintain easily without restricting, obsessing, tracking calories or points, weighing food, and other diet behaviors. Now, scientists also indicate that this weight range can fluctuate within a 10 to 20 pound range. Now, our set point range can also change throughout our life. So just because you were able to effortlessly maintain one weight in your 20s doesn't necessarily mean that will be your set point range in your 30s or your 50s or your 70s. Our bodies change throughout our life, and so can our set points. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the science behind the set point weight theory in this episode, but for simplicity's sake, you might think of your set point weight in the same context of how a thermostat fights to keep your house at a same temperature, right? Your body doesn't want to be below this weight. It doesn't want to be above this weight. It wants to be at this weight. Now, intuitive eating is the way that you were born knowing how to nourish your body before that part of you got hijacked by diet culture. Diet culture came in and it taught you not to trust your inner instincts and that you needed to follow external rules on how to eat. Now, it is totally possible to relearn how to trust your body's cues again. And the principles of intuitive eating are designed to work together to help you find your biological, predetermined set point weight. Now, my mission, not only with this podcast, but with my online course and my coaching programs, is to help as many people as possible step away from unhealthy, restrictive dieting and rebuild health promoting behaviors that will result in a balanced and peaceful relationship with food that will build body confidence and lead to a richer and a fuller life. While it does take focus and practice, I believe in my heart and my soul that it's worth every moment of effort. Now, number three is expressing gratitude for your body. And you may have heard me speak about this concept before, but gratitude has the power to shift your relationship with your body. Oftentimes, we're so focused on how our body looks that we forget to appreciate all of the amazing things that our bodies can do. And this is really so sad since really the main purpose of having a body is to use it to live our lives to the fullest, right? And our bodies, they allow us to move and to walk and to work, to digest food, to observe a beautiful sunset, to listen to music, to read and comprehend ideas, to engage in meaningful conversations with others, to do enjoyable things like enjoy a massage or hug our loved ones and express how we feel, breathe in oxygen, and keep our hearts beating. So many things that we just take for granted that our amazing bodies can do. Now, I've been reading a lot lately about the concept of body functionality appreciation. And this is really all about respecting and honoring the body for what it's capable of doing, and how this actually correlates directly with how we feel about our bodies. And there are a number of studies that are showing how body functionality appreciation is consistently associated with fewer body image problems, with lower levels of eating disorder symptoms, more consistent eating and exercise behaviors, less anxiety, depression, higher levels of self esteem, and just in general, better mental health and well being. So, I want to talk about a simple way that you can start putting this into practice. So, I recommend that every day for the next week that you write down 1 to 3 things that you're grateful for about your body. So, for example, I am extremely grateful for my mind because it allows me to have deep and meaningful conversations with others. My eyes, I am so grateful for the way that they allow me to experience my surroundings and take in information. My hands, I am so grateful for my hands because they allow me to create, to cook nourishing foods, to hug the loved ones around me, to pet my dog. And I am so appreciative of my ears and how they allow me to hear the sounds of nature, a favorite song, or the voice of loved ones, and so many other things. Now, those are just a couple of examples. So, when a bad body image moment arises, having simple tools like this will help redirect your mind inward toward what makes your body an incredible vessel that you get to experience this world in. Now, number four is an important one, and that's stop comparing your body to others. You've likely heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy. Well, the world is the home of a sea of diverse bodies. Every body is unique. It's so easy, though, in our society, and actually quite normal, to do the body comparison game, right? When you're comparing yourself to others, when you enter into a room, or when you see images on social media, this body comparison game revolves around the theme, how does my body look in comparison to the rest of the crowd? Now, we make a lot of assumptions when we're playing this body comparison game. And if you're admiring someone else's body, keep in mind that you don't really know how they attained that body. That person may have had plastic surgery. They may have a serious illness or an eating disorder, or they may be hyper vigilant with their eating and exercise and are totally miserable. So how do you stop doing this? Well, I think the first step is just simply recognizing and acknowledging that you're doing it. And when you catch yourself in the act, stop, look around, start to silently narrate your surroundings. In your mind, focus on what you see around you besides bodies. This can help to train your brain to stop negative thoughts in their tracks. Now, I also think it's important to remind yourself that other people's outsides can't be compared to their insides. And this is really a helpful habit to cultivate because unless you really are close to someone, you can't really use their outward appearance to judge the reality of their life. And especially on social media, people often carefully curate what they present. And they show only the positive moments and images that may have been touched up with Photoshop or creative lighting and touch up filters. Now, by letting go of comparisons, you can start to cultivate a much more neutral and ultimately a positive and accepting view of your own body and can shift your focus toward health and well being. you'll be much more likely to engage in self-care practices that nourish your mind and your body. Now, number 5 is to do a social media detox. Now, we know social media can have a major impact on body image, and it's riddled with opportunities to compare our bodies and our lives to unrealistic ideals. Now, I do this exercise with clients, and I highly recommend that you work on cleaning up your social media feeds and even consider taking periodic breaks from social media. So, first, you want to think critically about the images and the content that you consume on social media and unfollow accounts that promote unhealthy body ideals, that promote restriction and strict monitoring of eating habits, and that really just make you feel worse rather than better after consuming the content. Follow accounts that share informative and inspirational content from a non diet culture perspective, that promote and celebrate diversity of humans, that brighten your day with humor and lighthearted content, and that expand your horizons and diversify your ideas of beauty. Now, when we talk about establishing limits, take breaks and set limits for yourself for how much time you'll spend on social media. And many of the women that I work with notice an improvement in their body image just by taking periodic breaks from their feeds. So evaluate how much time you spend on social media in a given day. Then try reducing it by 5 to 10 minutes per day. Maybe then expand that to an hour, or maybe you even want to take a week off from time to time. And then think about what could you do with that time that could add value to your life, right? You can use it to work on a goal or to read more, or maybe calling old friends or playing with your kids or cleaning your house, organizing a drawer, move your body. I mean, you get the picture. There's a zillion things that you can do that will add value. Now, I also recommend that you move the social tabs around on your phone. So, especially consider moving your social tabs off of your home screen. And this will help you be extra mindful when you go to consume social media content. Now, the last strategy is wearing comfortable clothing that fits. It's really hard to take care of, respect, nourish, and move toward accepting your body when you feel uncomfortable in clothing that's too tight, right? I mean, what we really want to make sure we're doing is allowing ourselves to focus on positive health promoting behaviors while we're building respect and acceptance of our body. And it is very hard to do that when we're walking around in clothes that are too tight. Now, maybe you'll eventually fit into the smaller jeans, maybe not, but for now, focusing on respecting this body that you live in right now is going to lead to better outcomes than walking around miserable and uncomfortable all day will. When you're squeezing into clothing that doesn't fit well, you're almost guaranteed to have thoughts about restricting your food. And as I've shared many times, restriction almost always leads to binge eating or overdoing it in one way or another. And you're likely going to stay stuck on the hamster wheel of that never ending restrict binge cycle that you deserve to be free from. The size of your pants, it's not and it never will be what makes you happy, or it's your thoughts about the size of your pants that's going to be what makes you feel happy or unhappy. Now, when you're able to live with body acceptance, you free up a tremendous amount of energy to focus on your goals, on health promoting behaviors, and the things that are actually going to bring you joy. And you absolutely deserve to be able to feel more confident when you're wearing shorts or a bathing suit, but even more importantly, to live your life in a way that's aligned with your true purpose and your value. And that, my friend, has nothing to do with your outward appearance. Now, the last thing that I want to share is that building body acceptance is a practice rather than a destination. It's not a state to be perfected, it's a daily practice of self acceptance. So don't sweat it if you find yourself slipping on some days. Don't beat yourself up. This is a process that's all about learning and applying what you learn and making progress. And even the small, shaky steps along the way count as progress. So that is what I have for you today. Until next time, I hope that you have a beautiful week And I want you to remember that as humans, our worth is about so much more than our outward appearance. I encourage you to take time this week to focus on the things that make you amazing, special, and unique, and that have nothing to do with your outward appearance.